Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 271. Andrew Eisen here. Wordle. Yes! Wordle! Is it a Pokemon? I don't think so, but it could be. Now, Wordle is it is a cultural phenomenon right now, and, being that I'm old, at least getting there, I don't care. So, yeah, I heard of Wordle, and it just never interested me enough to look up and see what the heck it was. Until I was in one of my very many meetings during the work week, and someone saw fit to share their Wordle result in the chat. Now, I'm online enough to at least recognize what that represented. But I took a look at it real quick, and I was very surprised to find that Wordle is just Mastermind. Which is not a slight on the game. I was just expecting... For some reason, I was expecting it to be something particularly unique from the perspective of gameplay mechanics. It's not. Wordle is just Mastermind, but with words instead of a numeric string. Again, that's not to discount the game or poo-poo anyone who's enjoying it. Firelight, hello. Just, I was surprised. And Chicago, hello. So what I found interesting is the appeal of the game, generally speaking, seems to be less a unique gameplay mechanic, and more the way the game is actually presented. Because for those who don't know, and I didn't until earlier this week, Chaos, hello, I haven't seen you in a while, hope you're well. Wordle is a free game, there's a website, there's one puzzle, one new one every day, and everyone gets the same puzzle. So every day is a new word, you try to figure it out in as few guesses as possible, and then you can brag sharing your results to your friends. And that seems to be the key there, is that everyone is challenged with the same one singular puzzle every day. And the results screen doesn't spoil what the actual... what the word is. So you can brag about, I got it in 2, or got it in 3, or whatever, to all your friends with a little code that doesn't spoil what the actual answer is. And that's a genuinely really good idea. And I think that, more than the gameplay mechanics, which, again, I'm not poo-pooing, I think that social interaction is the thing that's capturing the attention of the cultural zeitgeist more than anything else. And I found that very interesting. But still, I was like, this is just Mastermind! Oh, man. I was hoping for, it's like, I should check everyone's losing their poo over this. I should check this out. See what this brand new game... Oh, it's just Mastermind. And that is also selling it a little short. It's not exactly Mastermind. For those who don't remember, Mastermind is... I mean, God, that game came out in the 70s. Older than me, even. Although a pen and paper version, I'm sure, has been in existence far longer than the actual physical board game that came out in 70 whatever. But the someone comes up... So there's a 6 or 8 digit code, numeric code, and you guess what that string of numbers is. And then after your guess, you are told which numbers are correct and which numbers are exist in the code but are in the wrong spot. And you use that information to try and guess the code. Wordle is exactly the same way, only it's a 6-digit word, I think. And not just a random string of letters, but an actual English word. No idea if it's translated in other languages or not, but yeah. So Wordle, and there should definitely be a Wordle Pokemon, because I can totally, I can hear its high falsetto going Wordle, Wordle, Wordle. Chaos, does anyone else think that 68.7 billion? Oh, that's the okay. I'm not even reading the rest. Pretty sure that's the Microsoft acquisition, right? Billion that Microsoft paid for Activision is an ungodly amount of money. Yes, so far as I know, that is like the largest by far acquisition. And I think we just had someone acquire someone else for like 12 billion, and that was the largest, and that was like earlier this month or last month or something like that. So yeah, that's I think we had something acquired for like 10 billion and then something acquired for 12 billion the last couple months, and just not thinking of it off the top of my head. And then Microsoft swoops in, and it's like 70 billion for Activision. And okay, I mean, I have it on my list. I didn't want to talk about it because I don't have much to say about it, but since we're talking about it, let's talk about it. So Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard King. Because if you'll remember, Activision bought Blizzard, which bought King. So Microsoft bought a company that bought a company that bought a company. And there's probably more in there somewhere that aren't actually in the title. But, oh, was it Activision bought King for 12 billion? Okay. Yeah, I knew there was some really big ones fairly recently, but for Microsoft, yes, it's 24th in the history of corporate buyouts. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Anyway, so, it big. And it warms my cold, black, shriveled little heart that you cannot find, I'm sure you can, but you cannot find a single news article talking about this acquisition without at some point mentioning, so, Microsoft, what are you going to do about Bobby Kotick, noted horrible person and monstrous piece of poo-poo? I'm glad that's on everybody's tongue. That's a good thing to ask. And Microsoft has been a bit cagey about it, but some of the off-the-record reporting, the people in the know, what it seems to be happening is Kotick will still have his job during the acquisition, which has to be approved, then has to go through, and blah, 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 blah. But once it's all finalized, yeah, he's out of a job. And don't worry, Bobby will be just fine. Not only is he already insanely rich, but people in the know report that his contract states that if he loses his job due to a buyout, he gets like $300 million or some obnoxious thing. So Bobbert will be just fine if you were worried about that piece of slime. Now, you might be thinking, you're not, but you could be, Andrew, if you owned Microsoft, what would you do? Well, because I care more about people than I do about money. Maybe that would change if I had money, but I don't have money, so I care about people more. I'll let you know when I'm rich. Support me on Patreon to make me rich so we can figure out if I turn into a monstrous ass. I would say, yes, we, Microsoft, Andrew, president of Microsoft, we're buying Activision. And we are getting rid of Bobby Kotick and the entire board because they are abusive, monstrous pieces of crap. And we don't want them here. No one should. And I do that because it's true. But even if I was just a cynical, money-hungry business person, Imagine the press, man. They'd never shut up about that. Imagine how much goodwill and attention and profitability could be milked out of doing the right thing. But maybe, maybe whoever's president of Microsoft, I forget, has a plan. Because maybe Microsoft knows that Kotick has a clause in its contract that says if he loses his job due to a merger, he gets $300 million. But maybe his contract doesn't specify that if he's fired for being an abusive piece of crap, he gets nothing. Although it wouldn't surprise me if his contract actually says if he gets fired for doing bad things, he still gets lots of money, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I'd make a huge show of getting rid of toxic people who hurt others for their own financial gain. I would totally do that. I bet that would even be profitable. Shareholders would love me. Let's see. A lot of reporting points to all the sexual harassment stuff that pushed the deal over the edge. Yeah, I imagine that was an element, at least. Thought $7 billion that paid for ZeniMax Media was a lot. Oh yeah. I mean, yes, it's an insane amount of money. There has been, let me get through the rest of the chat real quick. Reporting is that he's out as soon as the deal goes through. Right. Chaos says Bobby Boy is going to be gone. Yes. But he'll still be rich, and he'll still face no consequences for hurting lots and lots and lots of people. And that rubs me the wrong way. As I've mentioned, there are right ways to rub me. I'm not going to tell you what they are. But this is the wrong way. See, in my perfect little world, people are held accountable for their actions. And it is good. Let's see. Microsoft should buy Disney. I don't know if Microsoft's going to buy Disney, but I've seen some speculation that they'll go after EA or Sony. I don't know. Chaos says, my main hope from all this is Microsoft picks one studio, Treyarch and Infinity Ward, and have them be the COD studio, Call of Duty studio, then showing all the other developers, then allowing all the other developers to make whatever they want. Yeah. Matthew says, maybe true, but they can't legally say that, even if that's their plan until the deal goes through. If you're talking about getting rid of Kotick, yeah, there may, I talk about all this, well, if I were in charge. Yeah, it's possible that they're as altruistic and fair-minded as I am. They're just legally bound not to tip their hand until later. I doubt it. I hate being a cynical person who is not giving people he doesn't know the benefit of the doubt, but my sense, which, to be clear, means jack, is that they don't care. It's like, oh, Bobby Kotick and the other higher-up execs of Activision are bad people who hurt their employees. Yeah, we don't really care. I don't think they care. It'd be nice if they did, but I'm cynical and bitter, and I don't think they do. Phil Spencer, thank you. Chaos says, I'm cheap, measly 1 million, and I'll be an Xbox shill for the rest of my life. Yeah, I will shill for money. I mean, and not for a hate group, let's be clear, but yeah, I mean, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, y'all know this, but Sony, Microsoft, whatever, hit me up. I'll fanboy for you if you pay me, and give me fun stuff to play with. I catch you doing bad things, I will still call you out on it, though, money or not. What was I talking about? Oh, Call of Duty. So, will Call of Duty be a Microsoft exclusive, or will it still be on the PlayStation? It will still be on the PlayStation because money. Now, Microsoft could make it exclusive, but, you know, Call of Duty, each title generally sells multiple millions of copies, and many of those are on the Sony platform. So, if you made it exclusive to the Microsoft platforms, you would have some people come over, sure, but you would lose a portion of the people who played it on the PlayStation. And considering whatever percentage that happens to be, that's a lot of units of sale that you are leaving on the table. So, my humble, ill-informed opinion is that Call of Duty will still be a multi-platform title, and Nintendo fans can suck hot wax. Or suck eggs? Suck eggs. At least suck lemons kind of makes sense because lemons are, like, bitter? Or are they sour? One of the two. And they make you scrunch up your face. I don't know what sucking on an egg is supposed to accomplish. I mean, I've got eggs. I could go grab one and suck it on camera. No, actually, I better not do that. I'm grossing myself out now. So, any further thoughts on Microsoft buying Activision? No. It doesn't really affect me, because they're not giving me any money. Also, I don't own an Xbox, and I don't play many, if any, games from Activision. Like, the last Activision game, I'm not... Call of Duty isn't my jam. They're fine. But I like first-person shooters just fine. Call of Duty's never really done it for me. Last Activision game off the top of my head that I remember playing is Gun. Back in the GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era. Really liked that game. But, you know, even if all the Activision, Blizzard, and King titles went exclusive to Microsoft, that would affect me none. And really, it's all about me. Sour, thank you, Chaos. Matthew says they will make it exclusive just like they did with Starfield. People getting into the Microsoft ecosystem is more important and more profitable in the long run. I could see them eventually going exclusive, but my gut, which again means Jack, is that it'll at least the next couple Call of Duty games will still be on Sony's platform. It may eventually migrate over to Xbox and PC only, but probably not initially. Could be wrong about that. Don't know. I would be surprised if that happened. But if Microsoft has, $70 billion to throw around, even if they ended up losing $5 million in sales by making it exclusive, maybe that's a long-term investment that they're willing to go through. But historically, companies, not just video game companies, but companies in general, generally seem to be very short-sighted as far as long-term profitability. They seem to be very, very focused on this fiscal year and cannot see beyond it, generally speaking. If my PC can run it, I should check out the Halo games. Chaos brings up a good point. Well, I may be right, but I may be right only because the current games to be released and in development are probably contractually obligated to appear on the PlayStation platform. So, what do you say? So Halo, I've never been a big fan of Halo. I played the first one, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was a very average, perfectly serviceable first-person shooter. Kind of run-of-the-mill. It's the only one I've played. I haven't played any of the others. But I was very unimpressed with Halo. I was like, it's fine. It's alright. the story never interested me. So for me, it was gameplay that was okay, not bad at all. Not, and I wouldn't even call it mediocre. It's just fine. I never thought it did really anything particularly special. The vehicle controls like shit, but and it seemed to kind of run out of either ideas or kind of a issue in development, because like the end of the game is running back out of the place you already ran into, which is longer than the Metroid escape sequence. It's just like, am I just playing the whole game again backwards? Yeah, Halo's also Master Chief. I find him just an utterly boring character and one of the most uninspiring designs and names. Every time I hear Master Chief, I do an eye roll. I'm like, Master Chief. Oh my, that sounds like a joke. That sounds like someone doing a parody of such games. Coming up with the Master Chief character. Oh, it's so dumb. But maybe the story got better. I don't know. It's fine. I don't dislike Halo. I was just not particularly impressed by it. Another thing I wasn't impressed by? The Xbox 360 controller. I remember back in 06, I think it was, when the 360 came out. People were singing the praises of the 360 controller. Granted, you're comparing it to the crappy original Xbox controller, which had that big brick of a controller, and then they fixed it by putting the black and white buttons, which were kind of out of reach. You had to slide your hand up the side of the controller, unless you had like really big hands, a really long thumb, to get them. They moved them down like under where the pad of your finger. It's like, oh my god, how do you screw this up? So I can imagine a lot of the reaction was, oh my god, this controller doesn't suck, it's great. But I had heard so many people, oh my god, this is the best controller ever. So I went to Target or wherever, and I wrapped my grubby little mitts around the Xbox 360 controller, and I went, wow, this is the most average controller. I mean, the only thing notable about it to me was there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely fine. It's comfortable enough. It's got all the standard buttons you could want. The placement is fine. It is a perfectly serviceable, absolutely, utterly adequate controller. I guess I'm just hard to please. With the acquisition, didn't they get Beanox and Toys for Bob? Really? Were those subsidiaries? I don't know. They're Crash and Spyro and Skylanders, I think. Let's see. Microsoft just spent $70 billion. It will take 20 years to make the money back, regardless. Yeah, that's true. So that's not, so it's not completely fair to say that they don't think beyond the current fiscal year, but there are a lot of decisions that you see that make it seem like, it's like, are you not looking beyond this year? It's like, hey, we can make more money if we just fire all of our employees. Who's gonna make video games then? Oh, we'll just hire back a bunch of other people real cheap. Like, are they gonna be as good? Well, if they aren't, we'll just fire them. It's like, no. Let's see. What's my opinion on the Hero Wars ads? I haven't seen them, I don't think. So Chaos clarifies that Master Chief is just his rank. Oh, I remember this. Master Chief is his rank. His name is actually John. And the funny thing is like a year or two ago, I think it was probably on one of my podcasts, someone in the chat pointed out that they're like, Master Chief is just a rank. I'm like, oh, I figured that was his name. Well, I figured, Master or something. Well, I mean, I was like, okay, it's a name or nickname or something like that. But his name's probably something like John. And yeah, his name is literally John. The most boring, bland name you could possibly give a character. John. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't make Halo bad. I don't mean to... I'm not spitting on anyone who likes Halo. I just think it is a little goofy. and the first game didn't really impress me. Didn't. I didn't think it was bad. I was just like, it's fine. It's a fun. I had fun. It was a decent first-person shooter. His name is John 117. Oh, okay. Let's see. The original Duke Xbox controller. Yeah. The PS3 controller, which was terrible. Yeah, the PS3 controller. I was looking for my PS3 controller, but then I remembered I just used my PS4 controller. So, because yeah, it's so much better. Andrew's forgetting how bad the PS3 controller was. Yeah, I mean, the 360 controller, when compared to its predecessor and its contemporary, I could see the enthusiasm, but just taken on its own merits, it's fine. It doesn't do anything notable or special or anything even particularly well. It's just perfectly adequate. You know? It's like if someone makes you a bologna sandwich and you're like, yep, that sure is a slice of bologna between two pieces of bread. I mean that the bologna is nice and centered. You took that plastic bit off from around the sides. The bread's not moldy. It's perfectly adequate bologna sandwich. It's nothing special. It's just a bologna sandwich. Oh, is that you, Chaos? Oh, the enemies make jokes about his name in Infinite? That's great. My PC sounds loud. Oh, I was going to turn down the volume, but you mean the hum from my tower? Yeah. It's not the quietest rig I've ever had. It's also way more powerful than I really wanted, but, you know, I needed a computer, and right now, a year ago, and not right now, is not the best time to be picky about PC parts. And it still took me like 5 months to get all the parts I needed. Anyway, so enough faffing about with Microsoft and Activision. Let's talk Book of Boba Fett episode 4. If a show, a television show, foreshadows something that's going to happen in a subsequent episode, is that a spoiler? Because something happens in episode 4. What are my specs? I don't know. I forget. Let's see. I can look them up real quick. Let's see. Deep. Let's see. Whoops. That's the wrong thing. Here we go. Let's see. AMD Ryzen 5 2600X is the processor. Got 32 gigs of RAM. Bubbly. It's a Windows 10. What is my... Where's Device Manager here? I forget what the... Oh, I could... Let's see. What's my graphics card? I forget. That's the wrong thing. Why? Am I misaiming? Where's my clicker going? Here we go. I think this is right. Do I really have to open Device Manager to see what the hell the name of this thing is? Because I can't remember. Because I don't care. Graphics. No. Why am I not seeing my slider? Device portable. Force, print queue, processor, security price, sound, and Okay, I am blind, so now it's gonna bug me. Now it's gonna bug me. The RTX 360 Ti. That's what it is. I don't know why I can't spot it in Device Manager. I am blind. It is invisible to me for some reason. I don't know why. You ever open Device Manager or the refrigerator or a junk drawer and you're like, I know what I'm looking for. I know what it looks like. I know it's in here. I must be staring right at it. But somehow my eyes are just glancing off it and I'm just not seeing it. So. See what you did, MX? Do you see what you did? What was I talking about? Boba Fett, right. So, would anyone in the chat consider a show foreshadowing something that's happening in a subsequent episode, the show spoiling itself? I mean, can the show spoil itself? Because there's something that happens in Book of Boba Fett episode 4, which so clearly foreshadows something that's going to be happening in the next episode or two, that while I could have guessed, I didn't know was going to happen. I sat there going like, spoilers! And I thought, well, wait, that's dumb. So, yeah, I didn't want a 3060 Ti. That's more than I needed, but it's what I could get. And I couldn't buy it without also buying another 16 gigs of RAM, which is why I have 32 gigs of RAM in this thing. So, yeah. But hey, I'm just happy that I was able to actually get a graphics card. And Kyle, who's a KNGI site, hosts this podcast, was kind enough to, while I was looking for a graphics card, kind enough to donate his old graphics card, which struggled so valiantly. I bought 2 new fans for my tower to keep that sucker cool, because that thing was running its fans at full blast the entire time, trying to keep up with this rig. But anyway, this sucker is a lot louder than I would care for, but them's the breaks. So I hesitate to talk about what exactly Boba Fett spoiled, because I think the way it spoiled or foreshadowed what's coming is something that not everyone would pick up on. So maybe I shouldn't say it and just allow it to be a surprise for other people. Can I show you the tower? Sure. Doop, doop, doop. Doop, doop, doop. There you go. It's got one of those clear sides, so you can stare at all the crap inside if you really want. Which, I mean, fine. So, oh, and the motherboard has the RGB thing going on, and it's. I don't care about that. It's colorful, it's cool, it's pretty, but I mean, that again, it was another one of those things. That's what was available. I'm happier to pay. I'm perfectly happy to pay less money and not get pretty lights, you know. So Book of Boba Fett finally caught up to itself. Instead of doing the flashback and flash forward thing, it spent pretty much the first half of the episode just getting the rest of the flashback out of the way to get us up to where we're going. And glad you approve, MX. And I hope I didn't make anyone dizzy with the camera journey. Oh, by the way, my boy, I'm just all over the place tonight. My sister and I tomorrow are going to do our Christmas gift exchange, because my gifts finally got to her. Even though there are problems, but you'll see in upcoming videos, because I've had presents from her. You can see a big box back there. It's right, right there, big box. There's another box back there somewhere too, which are presents from her, and they've been sitting there for weeks because she got me presents on time. I did not get her presents on time. Not my fault, but yeah, her final present finally got to her, I think, on Tuesday of this week. So so we're going to do a gift exchange tomorrow. Chicago says, I'm so tired of RGB on everything. If you like it, you like it. The open window faces on my tower faces away from me, so I can't see it. It's like, it would probably annoy me if I had my tower on the other side of my desk, and that rotating colored light I'd probably find that very distracting. But since the other side is opaque, the side facing me is opaque, so I don't see it. And if I go to the kitchen or somewhere and I walk back over here, I see, oh, pretty lights. It's fine. It's like a Christmas tree all year round. Y'all took down your Christmas trees by now, yeah? So, Boba Fett, right. I still don't think it's very good. I don't think it's bad. Like, the show's not making me angry or anything. I just don't think it's very good. Like, structurally, I feel it's a mess. Like, now that we've actually figured out what Boba's character arc is and what he wants to do as a character, I find that more interesting and compelling. But it feels like I don't see any value, and this, I'm not saying there is no value, I may just be missing it, but I don't see any value to the way this show has been edited. The constant cross-cutting to what happened before to what's happening now. I feel like it probably would have just worked better if they would have started at Boba crawls out of the Sarlacc, and we just go from there until we get to modern day. Narratively, I feel that would work better because nothing that they're cross-cutting to has really any relevance. Like, none of the stuff you're learning in the flashback had to this point really been informing what's happening in the modern day. None of that, because of what I learned 2 years ago, I now know how to deal with this situation. Not really. So, again, I don't think the show is bad, I just don't think it's very good. Lindy says, can't have RGB. Cats will knock it over. Matthew says, I'm indifferent to RGB. That's kind of where I fall. I think if it was in my line of sight, the movement would be distracting, but yeah, if RGB components were cheaper, I would have all RGB. That's where so yeah, I'm indifferent too. Whatever's cheaper, I'm fine with. MX says, what's my opinion on zombie games? Wow, you're just getting me all over the place. All right, let me finish talking about Boba Fett, and then I'll go on zombie games. So Boba Fett, I had criticized the decision to murder the Tusken tribe, and now that I've seen the subsequent episode, I still feel that was not the right call. I don't think that was necessary at all. I have some other critiques with that entire sequence, but yeah, that doesn't seem to be necessary. Also, let's talk about the Sarlacc pit, because now I'm old. I predate the special editions where they added the monster in the Sarlacc pit. You see, when I was a children, and I saw Return of the Jedi, the Sarlacc pit was just this big toothy maw in the ground. And there were tentacles that flopped out of it so it was kind of like a very stationary graboid from Tremors. It's just this big open mouth in the ground that looks like it has the ability that basically waits for a bantha to just fall in. And it has little tentacles that it can use to drag things in if it gets too close. But especially for an organism that seems to digest you over 1,000 years, that's a pretty slow metabolism. So a bantha falling in once every couple of years would seem to be adequate, right? But then they did the special editions in, 97 or something like that. And for some reason, that wasn't enough. They had to add this little snappy sandworm thing, which looks almost exactly like the worm that's in the asteroid in Empire Strikes Back. So it's like we're repeating a thing. I'm like, well, that's less scary. To me, the idea of this just big toothy maw in the ground that if you fall in, you are screwed, that's horrifying. Now it's just a monster that eats you. I think that's boring. So they kind of ignored that for the first episode of Boba Fett, where he saw Boba Fett sitting in the Sarlacc gullet, and he flamethrowers through the wall, and then I guess digs several meters at least through sand to get out. I'm not sure how he managed to do that, but okay. So he's thinking... So what happens is he crawls out of the Sarlacc, and the Jawas come by and strip him for parts. They basically just steal his armor. And then he gets kidnapped by the Tuskens. Years later, Tuskens are dead. He finds Fennec gut shot, and he fixes her up. Oh, I really like the character with the LEDs in her eyes. I like that. That looked cool. So she's got a machine gut now. Something tells me he didn't need to replace her entire abdomen with machine parts. He just thought it was really cool, but you know. So they break into Jabba's palace and they steal the fire spray gunship, he referred to it. I'm thinking it's like, you know what? Come to think of it, Slave One, maybe not as cool of a name as I thought. Can't blame him. I probably would have. Yeah, I would have. Oh, Slave One, that's badass. I mean, it was when I was 12, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I want to go with a different name. So they steal Slave One, and or the fire spray gunship, and they go out to the pit of Carcoon or whatever it's called, where the Sarlacc lives, and basically flies the gunship and just sticks its face right in the... I thought he was just going to shoot the damn thing. It's like, bombs away, stupid Sarlacc. No, he's looking for his armor. He flies the gunship over to the Sarlacc and flies it right up to the hole, and it's just like sticking its... He's like looking around with a flashlight. I'm like, why do you think your armor is in there? You crawled out of it with your armor. Why do you think it's in there? Wouldn't you naturally think that the Jawas took it? That seems to be like their MO. Why do you think it's in there? Well, he doesn't see it. And then, of course, the snappy beak thing comes out, and it's like, oh, we're doing this, and it's so dumb. I hate that design choice. Just make it a big hole in the ground. That's much cooler. Anyway, so remember in Attack of the Clones, the really cool sonic bombs that ship has? You know, the little blue things that BWOM! He drops one of those in there. It just blows up the Sarlacc. And then he, like, repels into it. He's like, yeah, can't find my armor. I'm like, dude, even if it was down there, you'd never find it. You just blew it up with a concussive blast. An enormous concussive blast. You're never going to find it, even if it was... I guess it's not down there. You think? And not saying the scene wasn't fun and goofy and cool. In some ways it was, but it's also really dumb. It doesn't make any sense. So, Boba basically spent some years with the Tuscans and learned that, you know what? Bounty hunting kind of sucks. Because we're just seen as completely disposable. You know, fall into Sarlacc, whatever. Hire us out to do jobs by people who don't even know what they're doing. This is kind of crap. So Boba's gonna unionize, which is, I mean, not explicitly saying that, but that seems to be kind of what he's doing. He's gonna make a bounty hunter union, which is kind of a fun idea. Basically, he's saying that we're gonna work for ourselves, and I like to see where this is going. I think that's kind of a fun conceit. So I'll keep watching Book of Boba Fett, but good golly, this out of all the Marvel and Star Wars TV shows, I think this is my least favorite. Well, no, I would say Star Wars Visions, the anthology animated one, is I think I just outright didn't like that one. I just wasn't into any of the shorts. So this one at least has a lot of individual moments that I'm enjoying. Like the Rancor puppy is cute. I like the actors. They're fun. It still feels like one thing that, when he and Fennec raid Jabba's palace, it's this humongous complex with a lot of people who work there. Now it genuinely I'm not sure, but I think there's only like 6 people there and a droid now. Before there were guards and kitchen staff and all kinds of people in all different areas. Now it's Boba and Fennec, like the 4 cyborg swoop bike gang kids. He hired Kevin the Wookiee. He's got a translator, protocol droid. Do you want to count Baby Rancor? Sure. He seems to have a staff of 9. Really needs to hire more people. Because maybe that's why no one's taking you seriously, because you're like this one dude who lives in this really big house. So you don't have the muscle to back any of this up. Boba. Anyway, so what is my opinion on zombie games? It depends on the game. I don't have anything against them. You say these quotes zombie games? Are you referring to something specific, or just like Back 4 Blood and Dying Light 2? And I mean, both zombie games, but different in how they operate. The Left 4 Dead kind of stuff, I'm a single player gamer, so that style of gameplay doesn't appeal to me personally. Dying Light I have not played, but they never really interest. The first one didn't call to me, and the second one is not calling to me. It's not zombies, it's just that game for whatever reason isn't speaking to me. But I don't have an issue with zombies per se. I love the Resident Evil games, so no specific issue with zombie games. How are we doing? Okay, folks, we need to talk about M&Ms. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Is it because it's really important? Is it because it ruptures the very fabric of society? Or is it because it's kind of funny? It's because it's kind of funny. So, it was revealed via various media outlets this week that Mars Wrigley, the company that owns M&M's, has redesigned its M&M's characters. The cartoon anthropomorphic candies that you see in the commercials. Yeah, they've gone through a little bitty bit of a redesign. And the logo's been redesigned too. And let me find... And because the various outlets never see fit to actually just quote everything someone says, I only have small fragments of what the quotes are, but Mars Wrigley's says... We want M&Ms to be more inclusive, welcoming, and unifying, and representative of our consumer. Okay, that sounds cool. So, how do you go about doing that, Mars Wrigley? How do you make M&Ms more inclusive, welcoming, and unifying, and representing of our consumer? You make the logo straight. I kid, but I that was the first thing that popped into my head. I'm like, you want to be inclusive and more representative of our consumer, of all of our consumers, and you made the logo straight. Now, obviously, that's almost certainly not anyone's intention. Like that wasn't what they were thinking. But I have to wonder, was there like anyone in the boardroom where these decisions were being made, and they were like, just want to throw this out there. You realize that in order to be more inclusive and unifying and representing of everybody, we just made the logo straight? Just, I mean, I know that's not what that's not what we mean, but that's what we've done. It just, are you sure? Also, the cockeyed logo actually leaves more room for art on the packaging itself, so the straight logo is just kind of boring. But, I mean, you know, okay, fine. I mean, that's not what they meant. That's just me goofing on them because it's funny. So let's take a closer look at the individual characters. So that's a hell of a redesign they went through, isn't it? Well, that's definitely more inclusive, welcoming, and unifying, and representative of our customer. Have you spotted the changes yet? There are a few subtle design tweaks. There's a difference. The thing that first sticks out to me is look at their limbs. Originally, their limbs were more flesh-toned, at least Caucasian flesh-toned, and now they're pretty much all just solid white. Like they're wearing leggings and armings, which makes them look less like naked people wearing a candy costume, I guess, and more like, you know, just an actual cartoon character. I think that's a fine change. Although, looking at this particular art, the yellow and the orange one, their limbs do seem to be kind of yellowish hued and orangish hued. Brown one seems to be somewhat brownish hued, but the rest of them seem to be solid white. Okay. If you look really closely, you'll notice that Orange, his shoes are tied now. Which, because Orange's personality seems to be very anxious all the time. Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who would probably be pretty strict about keeping his damn shoes tied. So that seems like a fair design choice. Well, what else has changed? Oh, look. The brown one has gone from a stiletto heel to a chunky kitten heel. Okay. And Miss Green has gone from heeled go-go boots to sneakers. So, they changed their shoes, and that makes them more inclusive. Now, they should have made the limbs the same color as their candy shell. Yeah. Cockeyed logo is best logo, says MX. Yeah, I agree. I like the cockeyed one better. Now, so I went to the M&M's website and I looked at the character profiles. And let's look at the green one's. Well, let's look at her old profile, right? So here's her old profile. This is what used to be on the site. Oh, there is one more change that I noticed. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. Yeah, the brown one has less pronounced lips. The original design looks like she's maybe wearing lipstick or something, and in the new design she's not. You know, she has less notable lips. So there's another design. Green seems to have just as prominent lips as she used to. So here's her old profile. I melt for no one. Age, old enough to know better. Gender, female, weight. How dare you! Likes, simple candlelit dinners in Paris. Dislikes, men and women who stare. Shortcomings, can sometimes be intimidating. Best attribute, honey, I can't even choose. That's your job. Appearance, beauty of this magnitude can't be described in words. Okay, so that's what it used to be. You know, there's a lot of girl is the personality kind of thing going on here. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but there's a lot of that element in here. So what did they change it to? Here's the new one. What's your best quality? Being a hype woman for my friends. I think we all win when we see more women in leading roles, so I'm happy to take on the part of the supportive friend when they succeed. How do you screw it up that badly? Now, I'm teasing them mostly. That they're trying to evolve the characters beyond the stereotypes in which they were made. You know, they introduced the female Eminem, and her personality was broadly, she's the girl, right? They played up her sexuality and her sex appeal, and you know, she's attractive and everyone wants to have sex with the green anthropomorphic candy. That was basically her whole shtick. That was the personality, which is fine to have an overtly sexual character. That's not a personality flaw. That's nothing to be ashamed of. But when that's broadly the only thing you can think to do with your one female character, not the best look. So they're like, okay, let's change it. Oh, I also read I don't know if this is true, but I found an anecdote said by someone in an interview with someone from Mars Wrigley way back when they were talking about the original design of the green one, who wore the heeled go-go boots. They said, okay, why the heeled boots? And she said, well, originally we were going to put her in heels, but we couldn't get the character's ankles looking right, so we put her in heeled boots instead, because the ankles just, you know, the original CG model in the 90s looked wrong. So we put her in boots. And that's fine, but it's really telling that they're like, okay, we've got a girl character, put her in heels, because that's what girls wear. How would you know it's a girl if she's not in heels? And, you know, has eyelashes or a bow on her head or something. So I can see them desiring to move beyond that, right? But then they go, my best quality is being a hype woman for my friends, which, I remind you, are mostly males. I think we all win when we see women in leading roles, so I'm happy to take on, presumably, the leading role of supportive friend for their success. which is not really what it says, and certainly not what they meant. I think what they're going for here is the brown one is like supposed to be a leadership role, like a CEO or executive woman, and I'm a supportive friend for her. I think that might be what they're... But what this really comes off for is, I'm just here to support the success of my male friends. Again, not exactly what it says, almost certainly not what they meant, but guys, you can do better than this. You can do better than this. Hidden talents, it says, unfortunately, being inexplicably lifelike is all I have to work with. Any past transgressions that still haunt you? Nothing haunts me. My motto is live and learn and move on. Okay. So, now not to be cynical, but I'm pretty sure this move by Mars Wrigley was less a genuine desire to be inclusive and welcoming and representative of all types of people, and more because they know there are really stupid people out there who are going to complain that they don't find the girl M&Ms sexy enough anymore. And they will rail about it and talk about it on Twitter and make YouTube videos. And there are personalities on various news networks who will devote a segment of their news network to complain about how they can't get it up for the cartoon candy anymore. And I think Mars Wrigley knows that, and I think this is a cynical attempt to just get stupid people to complain about it for a month. And hey, I'm talking about it. I'm not complaining that I'm not horny for the candy anymore. I think it's funny. But there are some people out there who are performatively at least, very mad about the cartoon candy shoes. How dare you make the anthropomorphic M&M's candy cartoons less sexy? What am I supposed to jerk off to now? My masturbatory fantasies require at least a 3-inch heel, goddammit! So they introduced the brown M&M, I think in like 10 years ago. She's pretty new to the cast. What's her personality? Well, they already had the green one whose personality was essentially girl. So what do you do with the brown one? Well, their solution, again, almost certainly not their intention, but what it kind of comes off as is their personality for their second female character was stuck-up bitch. It's like, no! God damn it, guys! You could literally do anything. I think what they were really going for was, oh, girl boss, super, in control, empowered, feminism, yay, woo woman. I genuinely think that's what they were going for. But they kind of fail at it. Like, maybe they're going about it the wrong way. Maybe they're probably, I imagine something like, we need a female character. Okay, now what should her personality be? Well, we've already done girl. That's probably the wrong way to approach a character. Maybe what you want to do is, alright, we need a new character. So, what new personality would match our, would complement our existing cast of characters? a chef who went to culinary school and works so damn hard to make the bestest, most gourmet meals that anyone could ever hope to taste. And all anyone wants to do is eat M&Ms. It's like, I made filet mignon and foie gras and roasted duck and stuff, and all you want is like goddamn candy. You know? So, so make up a character and then just female. Whatever character you come up with. You know? You can do anything. The sky is the limit. Because what are the personalities of the male characters? Well, the red one is kind of aggressive and rude. The yellow one is easygoing and kind of a dumb. You know, the orange one is very anxious. The blue one, I'm not even sure what it. I think it's supposed to be the cool one. And then like green one, girl. So, yeah. Seriously, her whole character was basically everyone wanted to have sex with the green one. That's basically her character. And again, a character that wholeheartedly embraces her sexuality, that can be an absolutely positive thing. But when it's the only woman in the cast, it can come off as that's all you think women are good for. So, you can have overtly sexual characters. So what's the solution? Well, have more women in your cast. Well, we don't want to add another color to the candy. You know, if we added a new character, we'd have to make that a permanent stay of the. You could bring back the tan one, goddammit. I'm still bitter about that. Or you could just change one of the characters. You could do that. Just change one of the characters. Have you ever bought a bag of M&Ms? What's inside? One red, one yellow, one green? No. Multiples of each. Do you think red is the only red one? I imagine he has parents, right? You could just bring in new characters. You can do that. You can change them. You can introduce new ones. You can retire ones. You can do whatever you want. They're not real. Do whatever you want. But, you know, maybe think about what you're doing a little harder. Because if this goofball can pick it apart, this goofball, this one right here, then you're really doing very badly at this. I mean, they're just anthropomorphic candy mascots. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but anything worth doing is worth doing well. Chicago says, in all fairness, that's what parents do with their baby girls. They have those big obnoxious bows, dress them in pink clothes, and put some earrings. Yeah, I mean, there's an element to that that's sexist, but there's another element that's essentially just, here are my pronouns. You know, babies can't really articulate, can't introduce it. Hi, I'm Fred. Yeah, they're babies. Babies are dumb. And most of us stay that way. So, putting some identifier so you know what the baby's proper pronouns are. The idea, I don't think is a bad thing. The way it's done is possibly unnecessarily gendered and sexist, at least in part. But, yeah. But what you're talking about here is with the, how do you tell that the anthropomorphic candy is a girl? Well, it's got a bow on its head, or it's got eyelashes, or it's wearing heels. Non-binary people exist. if you really want to be inclusive. Or hell, there's a good reason to just change one of your characters. Have them transition. You know, make the blue one a trans woman. There you go. Even more representation. Good on ya. And dipshits will complain about that and get you lots of publicity. So win-win, I guess. But man, them some really slight changes. The only change I don't care for is Green's shoe change, because the heeled go-go boots are fun, and they were unique. Now she's just wearing boring-ass shoes, the same as all the other characters except the brown one, who's now in a chunky kitten heel instead of stilettos. That's a fine change. That looks more comfortable. Oh, her glasses frames changed a bit too. Forgot to point that out. Can you see the difference? See the slight difference in her glasses frames? Yep. But there we go. Mars Wrigley made very slight cosmetic changes to the appearance of their anthropomorphic candy mascots. And some people are very mad about it. But, I mean, oh golly. So, fun stuff. And I've actually seen a couple people on various platforms, performatively or not, raging about how dare they make the heels shorter and make them less sexy. They're not going to be happy unless we can't get it up for cartoons anymore. It's like, you realize you're saying that out loud, right? Wow. I mean, not to kink shame anyone. I suppose if one of the characters really did it for you the way they were, and now they don't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, I mean, the original versions of those characters still exist, so, I mean, you can still look at those. I'm sure there's going to be plenty rule 34. Is that the right rule? Why isn't it 69? You know, I'm sure there will be very sexy fan art of the new designs that maybe that will make you happy. So, you thought green was boy? Well, not according to this. Nope. Green is a female. The identifiers would have been lashes and heels. But, you know, they're cartoons. And, again, I think this was less I would like it to be, it's like, hey, you know what? We can make some slight tweaks to be more inclusive and representative of people. Cool. I seriously doubt it, though. I think this was just a way to get people to get M&Ms in the news for a month. And, I bet you it gonna work. And again, no shame in talking about it. I'm talking about it right now. But getting mad that a cartoon character isn't sexy enough for you, maybe there is shame in that. Maybe you should, especially if you're going to, you know, rant about it in public very angrily, performatively or not, that should be embarrassing. But I mean, if it's not, I'm still going to laugh at you. All right, so I burned 25 minutes talking about candy. So it's time for dinner. All right, that's it for the podcast tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me this evening. Tomorrow, well, I got a Christmas gift exchange with my sister, so maybe I'll have that video ready this week. Maybe next week. I don't know. Depends. Tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, we will continue through Trails in the Sky, starting Chapter 5. So, yeah, Trails in the Sky, second chapter, Chapter 5. I saved on the chapter title screen, so we're probably starting with cutscene. Which means that normally between weeks, I usually do things like reorganize my quartz, to get different power sets going. But since I'm sitting at a chapter screen, I didn't do that this week, and I don't like doing that on stream because it takes too long and it's too boring. So we're just going to go with whatever I happen to have plugged into my orbment. I'm sure it will be fine. But we need to find the Pretzel Farm's missing chickens. Cows too, but mostly those chickens. Alright, that's it for me. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Hope to see you tomorrow for some Trails in the Sky fun. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.